All right, so my friends over at keepretro.com sent me over the new Ambernick RG35XXSP, and it looks like a Game Boy Advance SP. We have a black transparent version here. I'll have a link to this in the description box down below. It's not an affiliate link or anything. If you want it, buy it. If not, I don't really care. I just thought this would be cool to check out. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, so I wanted to check it out. I am a fan of the Game Boy Advance SP. I think the clamshell design is really cool. So let's take a look at our transparent black system here. We have a system that looks a lot like a Game Boy Advance SP. I haven't held an SP in a little while. This does feel a little bit thicker, but that just could be my fading memory as I get older. We have some card slots here. We have a headphone jack as well. We have our power button and what I assume is a reset button. We have our volume control on this as well. And we have our place to plug in power and an HDMI out, which I find pretty interesting. Opening up the system itself, and I mean, this looks a lot like a Game Boy Advanced SP does. Obviously the same button layout that you would see with a standard Game Boy Advanced SP. The D-pad feels pretty decent. We of course have our other stuff in here, a screen protector. I don't wear protection. And of course a charging cable. Sorry, my hand looks kind of gross. I've been doing car stuff and failing. So yeah, my hands got a little grody, but that's the system. That's what you get. Kind of weird. There's no HDMI out cable in here, but let's check out what is on this system. So we have our main menu here, scrolling around. We're just going to go to the games. We have PSP and PS1, which is quite interesting when you really think about the way this system controls. We have vertical games, our Capcom systems, Neo Geo, some Final Burn Neo. We have MAME, Game Boy Advanced, of course, because that's what this is modeled after. Our standard Nintendo systems with NES and Super NES. Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, 32X, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Standard, PC Engine, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Game Gear, and WonderSwan Color. So pretty much what I would expect. I think the PlayStation stuff is kind of interesting. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But let's start off with some good old 32X, because yeah, sometimes 32X can be a little bit tricky for whatever reason with some emulation systems. We're going to start out with Virtua Fighter 32X. In my opinion, the best game on the system in terms of, well, really everything, like options, graphics, control, and as you can see, you know, it's running really well. Obviously, this is a 4x3 game, and 4x3 games are going to look really nice. Granted, there was a widescreen mode in this game that you could also access as well, which was pretty interesting for the time frame. But we're just going to be checking out the 4x3 version of the game, and it's playing exactly how it should. It looks good. It sounds good. The speaker, I didn't have the camera pick it up, but the speaker's actually like really loud, and like I was kind of impressed with just how loud it is, almost loud to the point of where it cackles and crackles a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the D-pad feels good, a little bit stiff, but I feel like that could be worked out over time. The face buttons all feel fine. Of course, I'm trying to figure out the controls here, a 3-button layout, yet I'm still struggling to figure things out. But yes, this is running well, it's playing well, and it looks good. And I like this clamshell design. We have some different options here as well when we hit the M button, which I'm assuming is menu or mode. You can do scan lines, you can do HD. We're just going to do HD because I think that looks the best on this screen. And adjust the screen brightness. We'll go ahead and knock that up to 5. So 32X looking good, playing good. I mean, I wouldn't really expect it not to, but I did want to check it out because I think that's kind of a novelty about this, because if you really view this as like a Game Boy Advanced SP, like it's very interesting. We have the PlayStation 1 games here, Biohazard, come on now, but a decent lineup of PlayStation 1 games. Now PlayStation 1, of course, you did have that D-pad initially until the DualShock controller came along, so I guess it kind of makes sense to have some PlayStation 1 games on here. Of course, I'm a car boy, so we're going to go with Gran Turismo as our game to check out. And you can see here, like, I mean, it's Gran Turismo. It's actually playing really well. There's no frame rate hiccups or anything like that. Obviously, your mileage is going to vary on PlayStation 1 stuff, though, because you don't have a DualShock controller. You don't have an analog stick or an analog nub or anything analog related. So when thinking about this game, you have to think about earlier PlayStation 1 games, and you have to think about, I think, 2D PlayStation 1 games. And if you think about it from that perspective, like, you get a very impressive sort of library of games that you can have available on the system. And like I said, you know, this PlayStation 1, obviously, it's not upscaled or anything like that, but it's running really well. And, you know, even with the D-pad, like, I'm not having trouble controlling my car. Like, I mean, you see, I'm in first place here, folks, playing on normal difficulty. So, you know, I like my Gran Turismo. What can I say? You can actually access a menu here as well, and you have a couple different options that aren't available in other things, such as vibration. I don't really know what that's insinuating. I don't think this thing has any vibration in here. It's CD control. You could just change the image. Next up, we're going to check out God of War on the PSP, and I can't move. I can't move because the PSP, of course, had an analog nub. So why is this game on? Why is PSP on here in general? Like, I don't understand that. Sorry that the image is kind of blown out with the lighting behind me, but we checked out Castlevania Dracula X next, and this actually was a lot better. There were still occasional frame rate hiccups, like when you would hit an enemy or when an enemy would do like a special attack, but this makes a lot more sense. I can control it, I can play it. You know, it looks good enough with the strange sort of aspect ratio of the PSP being translated into a 4:3 screen, but this is fine. You know, this is definitely playable. It's a great game. It's a 2D game, so much like the PlayStation 1, I think your mileage is going to vary a bit as far as what you're going to be able to get out of this system. See that little hiccup there when I hit the enemy? It's just, I don't really know what sort of makes it happen, if it's a frame rate skip or something, but you could always mess around with some options. I'm just checking this out straight out of the box. Now, of course, the Game Boy Advance library, plentiful on here, and this is why I feel like a lot of people will be drawn to this. Kind of a Game Boy Advance with a pretty much full library, or at least the stuff that you want to play, in a Game Boy Advance SP style design with a better screen than what came with the Game Boy Advanced SP initially. So you know, it's got pretty much, you know, your Metroids, your Marios, your Pokemons, because that's what everyone, you know, will probably want to get this sort of stuff for. And I think in that aspect, it definitely excels. A great lineup of games. I actually want to check out Sonic Advance. Funnily enough, I've never played this game. I have never played Sonic Advance before, and I want to play Sonic Advance because I feel like I've been missing out on this game. Like, it's a whole series of Sonic games that I've never played. So what am I missing out on here? Is this something that I need to go back and play? And well, with my time spent with it for this video, I did thoroughly enjoy it, actually. Like, it's a cool game, you know, and obviously it looks great on this screen. This is where this system is going to excel. You know, you want a Game Boy Advance SP that you can just throw in your pocket with a great battery life, a great screen, really loud speakers. I actually had to turn the game audio down for this game. Like, it was definitely crackling. But when you think about the Game Boy Advance SP, the audio on that, it kind of does make sense. Yeah, like this is definitely a standout system. Obviously, your NES, your Genesis, your Super Nintendos, your TurboGrafx, all that crap's gonna work on here just fine. And you get the added benefit of potentially some, you know, some PSP and some PlayStation 1 games, also arcade games on here too. It really just comes down to this clamshell design that I think is really going to resonate with people and, you know, make this a bit different than a lot of other systems are. And considering this starts out at $70 on Keep Retro's website, like, you know, something to throw in your pocket, play on the bus, or revisit some old Game Boy Advance games if you really want to. So those are my thoughts on this handheld. Pretty cool stuff. I actually quite like it. There'll be a link in the description box down below if you want to check out Keep Retro's website. Like I said, I don't make any money off of it. They just sent me one of these. Let me know your thoughts. Hit subscribe if you're new. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.